Hello. I'm gonna try this on my data instead of my Wi-Fi. So here's hoping. Okay, so we're gonna do a take two from earlier, and let's see how this goes compared to earlier. Hopefully. And I have a little bit of makeup on, so my eyes don't look like I'm dead. Excuse me. Hello. Hey everyone, and everyone that is joining me again for the second time today. Hello. I'm so excited to see you guys. Please let me know if it glitches. I had a lot of glitching issues. I disconnected my Wi-Fi on my phone because my boys are playing their Xbox and I have a feeling it's connecting. But let me know if it does glitch. I might have to go to the computer, and I really hate the way I look on the computer. All right. As people are hopping on, let me just explain a little bit of what today's live is going to be about. So honestly, I'm going to back this up a little bit because I feel like I'm really close. I'm going to stay away from that word today. What we're going to be talking about today is binding runes, and we're going to use Nordic runes, or also known as Elder Futhark runes. Elder Futhark runes are very sacred. They're used before the Viking era and after, and of course more modern day practices, they're utilizing them a lot more. Well, we're going to talk about the binding aspect of them and how we can utilize them in any type of magic or protection or anything like that. So if you know anything about sigils, sigils are pretty much identical to what binding runes are. We're just utilizing the Nordic runes to create them. Now, binding runes have to consist of 2 or more, mostly like 2 or 3. Sometimes people like to do 4. I've done a couple 4 ones. I like 4. It usually means I'm amping up the power on it, but the biggest disclaimer or warning or caution I want to tell you guys is know your runes. Don't try and work with binding runes if you don't know your runes. It's really easy to figure them out. There's a lot of research out there on them. There's YouTube videos. I did a 3-part series on what the runes are, how to pronounce them, what the meanings are, what you can create as your own meanings based off of the, depiction of what history deems them as. Now, if you are a history buff like me, you'll realize that some of the runes they say don't mean what we think they mean, but it's all an intention, okay? If you want one rune to mean one thing, then go with it. I've done it a million times. I like to think I'm pretty dang on. The sky's the limit. It's like tarot. No one can really tell you what it means, but you have to have a general basis because you don't want to mix up a wealth rune with the ice rune. Okay, so just have a general basis. All runes have one word meaning. Then, of course, there's always subcategories. So, let me think. What would be a good example? My favorite rune. Well, one of my 2 favorite runes. Isa, the ice rune, the ice wall. Now, ice is its actual main meaning. Okay, so when you look at anything, it'll be like, oh, the Isa rune, ice, cool. Break it a little further. Ice wall, challenge, obstacle, barrier, okay? Then if you need to break it into like a casting form because you're doing a divination for it, then go a little deeper. It's something that you got to get over. It's something you got to get through. It's something that you got to dig under and past. Realize it might fall, like the Tower card. How do you get past it? You really can break it on. So there's a lot of books. There's, like I said, a lot of YouTube. I did a 3-part series on it. I used my runes, a couple of my runes. Sorry, the cats are playing. Then you can also, I use cards too, which is an actual oracle, which is the Viking oracle. Has the runes on it, gives a breakdown in a book. They're really good. There's tons of training for learning runes. Another clause or disclaimer that I have come to realize is If it's not for you, it's okay. You don't have to worry about it. There are other type of binding runes out there, like we are going to do today. There's Norse. Hey, did you know you can use witches runes also to make a type of binding rune? You can use angelic runes. You can use dragon runes. Anything that has a rune, multiple runes to depict meanings and stuff, you can utilize them into a binding rune. You're just creating a sigil, a talisman, something, okay? But we call them binding runes. Hope that helps. If you just type it in runes in the group, they'll come up. Actually, there'll probably be 4 of them because I did one on casting runes also. The 3 ones on runes are in the form of YouTube videos. They're my personal, no one can see them, but the ones that have the link to it. So as long as you click it, you're granted access to it. So no worries on that. All right. So binding runes, like I said, there are 2 to 3 runes that you put together. You can stack them, and that just means literally putting them together in one small picture, I guess. Or you could put them in an up and down, and I'll show you a couple ideas of how some people have done it in the past. I stack most of mine, but if I'm doing something very intense and it's Nordic based, most of my power, strength, warrior type of magic, justice magic, no, I'm gonna go back. Not so much justice magic, because that's more of my Celtic side. That's my Morgan. But if I'm doing anything that's, like I said, warrior based, I'm using my Norse for. I'm amping up my power. I'm taking what I want and I'm going for it. So I do use a lot of up and down when it comes to warrior runic magic, if that makes sense, okay? So when you're binding a rune, you're bounding those runes together to create something powerful. When you create something powerful by putting it on paper, the moment you charge it, whether it's with your own energy, whether it's with an oil that's meant for whatever the creation of this binding rune is, whatever anything like that is, you bound it together. It's powerful. You can't just tear it apart. Once you create it, you can't just be like, I don't want this one on there. You're stuck. It's stuck. So when you put it on paper, or when you paint it, or when you put it on skin, like some of us do, it's a one and done, okay? The only way to reverse the spell or reverse the runic magic is to do a form of reversal. I found this out the hard way, like I do everything I do. I also did a lot of research on it. I tried to find like errors and saying, well, that's like saying the threefold law is fact. I don't believe in the threefold law. It doesn't work for me. Okay, I've yet to find anything that says once it's bound, it's no big deal. Every practitioner of the Norse world says once it's stuck, it's stuck. So just keep that in mind too. When you start to use it, and the moment you charge it, that's it. It's in the air, your attention is there. You got to deal with the consequences if it comes. Now, most of the time, the reason why we make these are for strength, for protection. Protection's a huge one, huge one. People will paint this on their walls before they paint within their house. They'll put it on the wall, they'll charge it, and then they'll paint over it with the actual color they use. There are people that put them in charms, or they put them in talismans, or they create talismans with these binding runes. They'll put them on their body to amplify them as a whole, or their whole energy, or a shield. A lot of protection sigils are created to make a shield. Let me think. There's wealth ones, and wealth ones are kind of like long-term binding too, so it's rare to use a short wealth. It's kind of like you're just trying to hit the lottery, you're just trying to hit like a scratch-off ticket for like $50. That's a short-term goal. Long-term wealth, that's something you have to recharge your binding room for over and over and over again. I hope that makes a little bit of sense on that. Another thing, like I even said in the earlier live that I had to delete, is rune or runic magic / binding runes can be a blessing, or it can also be used as a curse. Just depends on which side of the spectrum you want to use them as. I know most of the time they're going to be a blessing, or they're going to be just something to amplify. But you 100% can use any of these runes, especially the darker runes. And Isa and Kenyaz are two of the more destructive ones. There's also another actual destruction one. Just, it's escaping my brain at this literally second. That you can utilize in a curse. So, again, it depends on the intention and the purpose of what you're using the rune for. You can put them on candles. You can draw them into candles. You can draw them into the dirt. You can burn them. You see where I'm going? It's literally a sigil. Just using runes that are just as powerful. Because you can also look at it like you're showing the gods of the Norse practice, I'm calling you. I'm asking for your assistance. It can be used as a doorway, a gateway, things like that. Then you could just use them, like I said, as an amplifier, which is what most people do. Yeah, I'm just reading my notes, making sure I said all this. I always write notes and then I realize I say everything just in a ramble, and then I'm like, oh, I already said all this. Now I know that binding, or say runes in general, are modernized. I like to take them back to the ways of old. If you can make your own rune set or carve your binding rune into something else. So like, okay, I have a new house coming, thankfully. So we're going to be moving soon. I have so much work to do in the house to cleanse it, my normal practice stuff, but again, before I paint anything, which I know I paint everything. So every time I move in a house, I paint. There will be a binding rune behind it for protection. Most 100% clearly will be happening. But say I have a garden. Say that there's already some type of stones outside. Get a knife and a chisel a little bit and carve it into a stone. Protection, your binding. Flip it around so no one can see it, but it's there. It becomes your shield. Keep out unwanted energies, unwanted things, unwanted people. It's kind of how there's like a TikTok that someone cleanses their house, and someone walks in and be like, oh, I can't handle this. This is disgusting. Or like the smell, and they just leave. You're like, oh, well, you weren't meant to be here anyways. You know, it's things like that. Excuse me. And we're going to create right here, right now. I'll show you two of the runes that I like to do. I'm sorry, not runes. Two of the binding runes that I do. They're my personal ones. You're more than welcome to take them, but I highly recommend you create some yourself. All you got to do is pick your runes. Start creating. Bless it, or anoint it, or charge it, depending on how you want to look at it, and go for it. Utilize it. Actually utilize it. Once you create it, use it. That's the whole point of it, right? Is to use it. I already said all that. I said all that too. I said all that. Okay. So, biggest thing, pick your objective. What's the whole purpose that you want to get out of it? You could be like, okay, I want to get wealth. No, that's a boring one. On my last live, someone picks healing. So you want healing. Healing for others. Not just healing for self, but healing for others. Then, together, we picked the runes. We picked 3 runes. And then we pieced them together. How we seen fit. We did 2 different ones. So maybe we'll do that again later, or I'll have someone pick out something new, or if we want to do another healing one, we'll do another healing. It's no big deal. But we can do either way. But there's a couple things I do want to show you that some other people have created, like in the past. You can find it on TikTok has them. You can find these people creating the same ones from Pinterest, from YouTube, from Google. I was trying to think, my brain's fried. But I like to create my own. Now, I do have runes on my own body. mine actually spell out Loki, because you can actually do that. You can actually spell out someone's name in runic form. And I'll show you that too, how the runic alphabet is set up based off of the rune. And mine's literally up and down. So I have mine spaced apart on purpose, but if I connected them, they would make the, what they call the same staff. Is that how we say it? Same staff. Hold on. Yes, the same staff, which means the runes are going up and down. So they're not stacked on top of each other, but they're just going up and down. And I'll show you all that here soon. It'll make sense. And then we're going to make them. Okay? So is everyone with me? Hopefully everyone's with me. I'm going to point you to the sky and then flip my camera around and point you at the paper so we can get started with that. So give me a second. I'm moving my markers and my little cheat sheet notes. Okay. Da, da, da. Point to the sky. One second, guys. Sorry. Camera's like, I don't think so. So first thing I'm going to show you guys is the runic alphabet, just to kind of give you an idea. And I'm going to zoom in, so give me a second. I just got to focus it. I just got to focus my camera just a little bit. There we go. It's like, I'm not going to focus on. Okay. I know I couldn't get them all in, but just I wanted to kind of give you an idea. So here we are looking, I'll zoom in a little bit more. And I'll start over here. But this is the breakdown when it comes to the runic alphabet itself. So you can actually make names out of it, as you see. Just kind of give you an idea if it's something you want to look into a little bit later. Okay? Alright, so I'm just going to pull this one away, slide this to this side. And I want to show you what the ones that are up and down. And I broke them apart too, my little notes for you guys. But these are the Viking god runes, because every god has their own set of runes. So I'll just kind of zoom in. I'll show you what... Come on, Odin. Come back. I know, Loki always wants to show himself. So here's what Odin's looks like when you have it in the same style. This just means that they're more up and down. Yes, they're kind of blended together a little bit, but they're really not, because you have now these, which is set up straight up and down with a line across. You have Othala in here also. Yeah, pretty cool like that. You got Dagas, and you have Isa also in there. As you can see, I have them written here. Loki has his, Freya, and then Thor. Now, there's more. There's so much more. But just to kind of give you guys an idea. Oh no! Why is it every time I flip my camera, it's glitchy? Am I still glitchy? Am I still glitchy? Please let me know. I literally don't understand why it glitches every time I flip it around. Sorry, I gotta get on my knees on my chair here because I feel short. Okay, hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's not. Let's continue on, guys. I hope not. Okay, let's hope everything goes good. Okay. So here are binding rune ideas for you guys. I'm just going to bring it up just in case, the whole point, because I zoom in, it makes it glitchy. Ooh, fair enough. We do have storms rolling our way, but we had storms rolling earlier too. Okay, so just kind of give you an idea of what they'll look like and what we'll kind of be creating today, but our own, of course. You can make runes for pretty much anything, as you see. And these are the ones I just pulled off of Pinterest to kind of give you an idea. Nothing crazy, pretty basic. Now we are going to rework this protection one because we can, and then we're going to actually work one that's not on here, which is what I love to create, is the power rune. I utilize power for a lot of things, and it just depends on your depiction of power. But we're going to break it apart a little bit, so no worries. All right. So I'm just going to show you the backside. These are the ones we did earlier, so I'm not going to let you see them. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so the first one we're going to do, well, actually, how should I, you know what, I'm going to show you how these runes can be broken apart, and bear with me because I should probably move this candle over too, so I don't burn anything. Okay. And I'm a side writer, so I do apologize. But I'll try and do it so you guys can see everything for sure. So their protection rune, like the one I showed you that we're going to rework, looks like this. Let's see if I can make sure I do it. And then I'll turn the page, don't worry, so you can see it. But it's literally a line. Okay, so that's their protection, right? That's the signal, binding rune for protection. Okay, we'll just call it others because it's not ours and we don't like to share. All right, so I'll show you, and I'm going to write everything on the side here that tells you the runes that are actually within this. But I'll tell you there are 3 runes that they meant to make this with. So, ooh, itch. Ow, 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 ow. Sorry. So they meant, the first one is X, and this is Gabo. The 2 X's on top of each other, okay? They meant to make that. At least they meant to make the one X. Now, Gabo is all about, like, gifts, giving. It's about, like, relationships, exchanges, partnerships even, okay? So, it can make sense. Partnerships make stronger bonds. You get the whole concept on that, okay? So, Gabo was one of them. The other one that they used was that one. Straight line, which is this one right here. Straight down. It's hard to break through. So that's a good one for protection also. Then the other one they actually made was this rune. And this is Othala. Othala is right here. Bam, bam, choo, choo, right there. So it's literally right in here in the middle. And Othala is about heritage. It's about family. It's about ancestral. And if you know, we always like to say as practitioners, you know, having your ancestors behind you is protection in itself. They're guiding you. They're keeping you strong. They're keeping you going. They're your cheer squad in your back. Your heritage is what makes you powerful, no matter what blend of heritage you come from. You have your own specialty, your own strength, your own everything, okay? So these are the 3 that they initially made it with. But let me tell you the other ones that are hidden within. And this is something that when you make binding runes, you have to be careful of. You have to be careful of runes coming out of 3 basic runes, okay? So we knew Gabo, Isa, and Othala. What is also coming through is, and I'm gonna put them over here. I guess I'll put it right down here. No, I'll put it over here so I moved the paper. Is this rune, and this is Rodaio. This is all about journeys. This is also known as wagon, okay? But it took me a minute. I was like, crap, how do I spell Rodaio? Rodaio, like I said, it's all about journeys. Now, if you look here, you go straight down, bam, R, straight off. Then, if you be careful, because we do look at runes as a flip, you have an R in reverse also, and it's because of the Othala rune and Isa combined make the Rodaio rune. So you got to be careful because that's giving you, yes, it's powerful, but at the same time, I'm going to reverse the effects of it. So you want to be really careful on this one, and that's why this type of and that's your fire rune. Fire is very powerful, so it really works. You actually have two of them, bam, bam, but be careful because you have bam and bam. Another problem right there, they cancel each other out. So it's not bad, but it's not cool because you got runes on there for no reason that you can't even utilize. Then you also have this one right here, Alguz, Alguz. And Alguz is the sign of water. So that's another one you kind of got to watch because you're like, okay, how is water protection? Haha, it is. So this rune actually kind of helps because your protection rune is, you know, it's a power, it's strong. And you can always think of it like a hurricane or a tsunami or a tidal wave. Are they powerful? Yes. Are they destructive? Depends on how you want to utilize it. So do you want to use it as it's protecting your home? Because you already have Othala. Right? So it's kind of one of those ones like you really got to be careful with. But they're not bad. These just, unfortunately, they kind of cancel each other out. This one, it works. So you just want to be careful. So this is someone else's rune. Their protection rune. So again, you choose what you want if you really want it that way. But for us, we're no-go on that one, right? So everyone good with this one? This is just a breakdown of how you look at runes. And that's why I say never take someone else's rune for whatever its meaning is because it might not work for you. It might not also how you look at runes. Some people might look at the fire rune, which is Kanaz, and they might be like, that's kind of scary. That's more of a destruction rune. I don't know how I feel about that. I think that's more like we need to stay away from that kind of thing. But Kanaz is, for me, amazing. Because two of my favorite runes are Isa and Kanaz. Because I'm all about the yin and yang, fire and ice, after all. And then, of course, my name is Crystal, which represents ice. So Isa is naturally going to be my go-to rune. Okay? So I'm going to change markers because I always use with Am I still glitch, guys? No, I hope so. I want you guys to understand, see everything. So this one, we're going to work on strength. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pick 4 runes for this one. And I'll give you the meanings of the runes right next to it too. Okay, so the first one is Uruz. And this is what Uruz looks like. Okay, and this is how you spell it, in case you guys want to know. Oh, I hope not. And this one represents ox or physical strength. Okay. Then the other one we're going to use is, of course, my fire rune, Kanaz. And we are using it as fire, because remember, working with strength. But we're technical. Probably zoom out so it doesn't look weird. And don't mind my crazy handwriting. That's just me. The next one is Hagalaz. And it kind of looks like an N. It's a line, and then a line in the middle, slanted straight down. And this is how you spell it. And Hagalaz is hail, and also known as nature's wrath. So we're just going to put wrath nature, because that's what it is. It's nature's wrath. Then our last one we're going to use is, of course, my favorite, my other favorite. Of course, you see I got to use two of my favorite, and you do that. When you make your own stuff, this is what you do. You put your own stuff into it. And this is Isa, and we're using this as our ice wall for strength. Because who is going to break through an ice wall easily? No one. All right, and then down here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a little squiggly line, and then there is one bonus rune that comes from us blending these four together, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Okay, so you see these ones. We got Uruz, Kanaz, Hagalaz, and Isa. This one is for the Ox, our physical strength. We have our fire and technical ability, hail and wrath as far as nature goes, and then our ice wall. You see how I used literally elemental basis to create my strength. You have your water, you have your ice, you have your water, you have your fire, and you have your earth. See how I did that? Now, this could also be water, but ice I count as my own element itself, even though it is in the form of the water. Okay, now this is literally one of my favorite ones, so I love you guys because I don't usually show this to anyone, so I'm just going to zoom in so you guys can see a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't glitch too much. Okay, so the first one I like to use when I make this one is I like to use Hagalaz. So yeah, we're going to go with Hagalaz. So again, all that one is, and I'll make this kind of big enough so you guys can see, is I'm going to draw a line, and then a line straight in the middle. Of course, it's not going to be like amazing perfect. So there's my Hagalaz, all right? There's my hail, there's my wrath of nature. Now, what's really cool with runes is you'll find runes within each other. So if you can see, Uruz, which is our ox and physical strength, is right here. It's already there. I don't need to add it. It's already added in itself from Hagalaz. So it works out perfect. So I don't need to add it. It's there, okay? So there it takes out two from right there. Then the next one I'm going to add is my Isa, my ice rune. And because I'm awesome like that, I'm going to just put it in the middle, but extend it out a little bit. Make it a little bit longer. So there's my Isa. Then the last one is going to be my Kanaz. Now you can put this wherever you want, okay? It's just, remember what Kanaz looks like? It just looks like this. So where I like to put it is I'm going to connect it somewhere inside. So I'm going to actually start right here at this top, and I'm going to come down to this central point. And guess what? Bam, it's already there for me. So there is my strength rune. That's my binding rune for strength. That's what I draw myself. Now there is one more rune that is on here, which is actually considered the horse rune, which is really cool. It's an M. Can you guys see the M? Okay, so that's what it is. Oh my gosh, brain fried. Ehwaz. Holy crap. So Ehwaz literally looks like an M, but it's spelt literally Ehwaz, and this means horse. And we already know horses are stupid strong too. So does it work with what we want? Sure does. Check. It does work. It's perfect. So there is our whole thing when it comes to our strength. And that's all we did. Okay? We just blended our runes together. Ehwaz, our ice, our Hagalaz, our Kanaz, and our Uruz. I always like saying that one. Uruz. Okay? Everyone good on this one? Does it make sense? Alright. So let me get this out of the way. Alright. The next one we're going to do is power. Everyone still with me? Hopefully. And everyone's storms are rolling in because everyone's country going here. Mother Nature is not doing well with all of us. Some people are getting snow in June. Okay, so this one is going to be power. Now, a lot of people don't like to use this intention because they're like, oh, it's too scary, or, you know, I'm not trying to take charge of anything. Well, I like taking charge of stuff. It's what I do best. So this one I want to use, or I should say I do use, 3 runes only. And are there bonus runes? Sure are. And of course, I'll tell you. 3. So the 3 we're going to use for power, and I'll explain why, is Tiwaz as our first one. And we're going to use it for, or I should say as, authority-based. Okay? Then, the next one I want to use is Gabo. And yes, I said earlier, it's all about gifts, but Gabo, in its reverse motion, and yes, Gabo can be used in a reverse, guys, is sacrifice. You see how dark and twisted power can become? Then our last one is Thuruz, or Thurazaz, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And it looks like that. Kind of a P, but the line sticking up still. And again, this is Thuruzaz. And this is reactive force. Okay, so those are our 3 runes we are going to utilize for this one. Everyone good on that? And then down bonus for Danny to look at bonus. We did make this earlier 2 different ways. We did it stacked and we did it same staff, which is the up and down one, and then stacked is the, you know, kind of like little bunch together thing. So we're going to do them twice. So the first one, I'm going to do the stacked. This is the one I do use a lot, but I kind of, after working with the same staff, I did enjoy it. I actually kind of really liked it, and I'm kind of going to use it in my magic, especially where power comes into play, because it's strong. So let me explain why I use the runes I did. So Tiwaz, why did I use authority? Well, authority is a leader. A leader holds power, okay? So you have to be in front of people. And being a Leo that I am, a lot of people think that, you know, we're all about our looks and, you know, being in front of everyone. That's not only it, though. Being a Leo means the king of the jungle in a way. Like, someone has to do it. I'll do it. I'll take the brunt of it. I'll take the hits. But I'm going to get something out of it. Kind of like that. And again, this depends on why you're using it. Are you using it for a job? Are you using it in your home life? Are you using it to fight obstacles? Are you trying to get, you know, some type of leadership role? It just depends on what you're using it for, okay? Gabo, I'm using it as sacrifice. And think of it this way. You can't please everyone. And someone is going to feel like you're their sacrifice, or they're your sacrifice, because anytime you take a job promotion, people are going to be mad at you. Your old friends are going to be mad at you because you're trying to step up and they feel like they're left behind. Sometimes you got to cut off family to make yourself better. Sometimes you got to cut off your ego. That can be a sacrifice in itself. You know, before you be like, oh, I don't feel like you gotta make a sacrifice somewhere. That's how power works. You can't please ever going to please someone. Sometimes you sacrifice the two. So keep that in mind also. Thurazaz we're using it as a reactive force. Reactive force as anytime you take a power role, you got people that are going to push you back. There are people that are going to step on you or try to step on you. Reactive force is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when someone pushes back? How are you going to react to it? It gives you that power of, this is how I got to react. This is how I'm going to stay strong. This is how I'm going to do it. No one's going to stop me. I'm doing what I need to do and how I need to do it. So that's where your reactive force. So you see why I chose those 3. And again, these are mine. There's so many different runes that would go really well with power. These are my 3. So Here's how we break it down though, okay? So the first one we're gonna use is we're gonna actually use Tiwas first. So let me just blow this in. Make sure you guys can see it. So we'll do this. So there's your Tiwas, okay? Nice little arrow pointed up. Then the next one we're gonna utilize is Thuruzaz, which is our reactive force, which is the one that looks a little bit like a P, right? So where we're gonna actually put this is, let's see, where did I put this last time? No, we're not gonna use Thoraz. Oh wait, do I want to use Thoraz yet? No, I don't want to use Thoraz that. No, we're gonna use Gabo. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put Gabo and we're gonna connect them to these two corners here. So I'm literally just gonna cross it, and actually I want to bring this down just a little bit. And we're just gonna cross it. Trying to make sure we center our points perfectly. Okay, so, ooh, I see another rune hidden already, right? That's okay, because that's a bonus rune, remember? Now, Thorazaz, now this one can be a little tricky because it's really going to depend on how you do it. You can do it one of two different ways. You can bring this straight up, this line right here, and already have this connected, which would work. Or you can create a new one. You can create a line anywhere on this plane right here, connect it, and make it smaller. So you can either connect it straight from the middle point here down, or you can bring it up. So today, I feel like we're just gonna extend the line up. And bam, now we have our rune. Simple, right? Very easy, very easy. Now with this one, I'll slide here. The bonus runes that you see in this one is definitely Rodio. So the R looking one. And I'll show you. You see the R, bam, but it flips on itself. So it kind of cancels itself out. And Othala, which is our home and heritage now. And there's that one. And you already see that. Bam, bam, right? So you got two bonus runes. Does it work? Yup, sure does. No issue. So that's a power rune. Now, if we want to do it like we did the other way, I'll show you another way of doing the same runes, just a different layout. And again, you make this all on your own. So you can do Thorazaz, again, bam. Then, my nose itches, I'm sorry. I actually want to extend this down because I'm going to then take my Thorazaz and put it off of that. And then, oops, look at me being silly. Make sure my X cross points for Gabo, straight like that. And that's the same side. Sorry, I was trying not to cough all over you. But there's another way you can make the binding rune. Make sense? So that's definitely a different way you could do it too. So let me just turn the paper so you can see it. So this is the way I usually do it. And this is a new way I kind of did for everyone earlier. Right now, I don't know. I can't do it a third time. Does anyone have any questions with this? Any at all? Flip this around. You guys gonna look at the sky for a second. This stand's kicking my butt today. Alright. That looks so weird with this candlelight. Makes me look weird. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. I kind of give you like a little bit of idea. Like I said, we made our own runes. We did a power and a strength one. You can do so many others. I'll show you the one from earlier that we did. It's gonna be backwards though for you guys. Oh, fuck it. I'll flip the camera back around. I don't care. Give me a second. So here's the one from earlier. This was a healing one. To kind of give you a little bit of idea, we used Wunyo for comfort. We use Laguz for renewal of water, and then we did Nalvies, which is survival, and that's 2 different ways that we made those runes. So again, you can stack it, or you can stack them together. It just depends. But remember, some runes kind of blend on each other, and that's because if you look at these ones, Laguz and Wunyo actually are already together inside of it. So it makes it really easy to just blend to just knowing that there are 2 runes in there and you're utilizing them both, if that makes sense. But this was healing for others, so keep that in mind too. This was not healing for self. She asked me to do this as far as that. Called plane. It's called Stav binding. But back, my sky. Hello again. But yes, so if you guys have any other questions I can answer, I'd be more than happy to. I'm really sorry for the glitching. I updated my phone and everything. I don't know why it's doing it. I do apologize. I did do this a couple times. So hopefully I got all the information across. Let's pray that the next time everything goes smooth and we don't have these issues again. If you guys have any other questions, please don't hesitate to inbox me or post it on this live. This live isn't going to be meant for everyone, so that's totally okay. You have to love runes. You can't just use them to use them. You have to actually love to work with them and let them be a part of your soul and who you are. You have to think about them, and everything you do, you have to see them in so many different things. And that's usually where, Norse heritage comes into play. You're just drawn to them, and that's okay. Yeah, I think that's all I could think of. Oh, perfect. I'm glad you guys got some really good information on this. I love doing binding runes. I don't know, hopefully Sarah Lee watches the live. She does binding runes a lot too. And I'm curious to see if our style is a little bit different. I know I actually draw them on my skin at times, besides getting them tattooed. I'm sure you can, Sherry. I'm sure you can. I just don't know how you would set it up, if you can actually like cross them a little different to see them all. I don't, in being Celtic, you think I would work with those types of runes, and I don't. Isn't that weird? Because Morgan is like my head patroness, and I don't work with those. And I don't know why though. I think it's because of Loki. I work so hard in runes, and it's like who I am. And I love that, but it's weird that I don't. It's really weird. Yeah, okay. So, let me know. Yeah, I'm gonna get going. It's bedtime for me, and I gotta work in the morning. So, namaste, blessed be, and I hope to see you guys soon. Have a good one, guys. Good night.